technically Mexican and 3/4 American, but for 3 generations he's got that nationality. Great-great-grandpa headed south, whose kids had kids then turned around. It's not what the show's about, but it's why he's Mexican technically. He hopes that he was raised in New Mexico, lived in Guadalajara for 2 years, speaks fluent Spanish with a bachelor's degree in language, and makes a mean taquito. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This video is a little bit different from what I'm used to doing, but I just read the first 2 Dune books, and I really wanted to talk about it, and no one else on my regular live stream had read them. So I found some friends on the internet, and I just want to talk about Dune for a long time.
Okay, first of all, nobody else has read Dune. Why?
No one else on my regular live stream, which I do Sunday nights.
But why? How?
I don't know. I hadn't read it until just now.
That's true. Like, I don't know.
So this is Firo. He's from the UK.
Yes, I am from the place across the water.
Which is why we're streaming at noon, because it's nighttime for you.
Well, it's summer now, so it's not. But
okay.
It's 7 o'clock, so it's basically nighttime. But yeah, let's see. I got some questions here.
Yeah.
Shall I begin?
Yeah. Let's just. There's no structure. I just wanted to talk about Dune.
Yeah. All right. How were you introduced to Dune?
Oh, obviously, spoilers for the Dune books.
Mostly
1 and 2, but we might talk about like theories from later on.
Okay, so that was actually I was going to say that myself. Me and Grim agreed we would not talk about anything from book 3 onwards.
Okay.
Just because there is some stuff in there. Like, okay, sorry, let me preface this. We want to do another Dune stream later on, but only after you've read God Emperor of Dune.
Yeah.
Because after God Emperor of Dune, that is basically where the story of Dune really ends, because the next 2 books are set up for book 7, which never came out.
Right.
So a lot of our questions right now are going to be very, like, your opinions. But when it gets to God Emperor of Dune, that's where we can unleash the tide.
Yeah. Near the end of the stream, and we'll preface it beforehand, I do have some questions about the next books, because I already knew about some of the things before I started reading the books, and we've been chatting on Discord, and so I have a few questions about the following books that we'll talk about at the end of this stream. But I've met Firo through the White Cloaks Discord that's full of wonderful people, and Grimhat is supposed to be joining us, but he's having technical difficulties, so he might not ever show up.
Yeah, his PC's bad.
Yeah. So the first 2 books, it's a good stopping point, or like
so
because it is kind of like one story, and then 3 and 4 branch out a little bit.
Yeah, the way the fan base has cut them up is there's the Dune. If you just read the Dune, so it's Dune is like the first book, then the Muad'Dib duology is the first 2 books.
Yeah.
And then it's the quadrology, which is the true Dune experience.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because obviously, as you can tell, the ending of the second book, the next 2 books are not going to be about Paul. But you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
So, so how, like, were you introduced to Dune? Like, what, like, how did that happen?
Well, so I grew up with, and this may be blasphemy, but I grew up with the David Lynch film.
And Disconnect. I'm
no, I know that it's bad, but I love it because of its campiness. Like it is a very entertaining movie to watch.
I love Batman and Robin. It is very bad, but I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I grew up watching that ridiculous movie. And obviously I know that like Dune has inspired a bunch of other movies and books, almost as much as like, John Carter of Mars is Star Wars and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I know how influential it is. It's been on my to be read list for a long time. I just never got around to it. I have a big backstory about reading. Like I have dyslexia, so
Yeah.
I used to read a lot when I was a kid, despite of it, because I just liked
Mm.
stories. And then high school made me read a bunch of dumb books that were gross, and so I stopped altogether.
Oh, I hate high school, man.
And then someone convinced me to start reading Brandon Sanderson, and I liked that. And then audiobooks got more
Too bad.
popular, and I was like, oh wait, I can actually read like a lot. And so I've recently just been binging all the stuff that I'm supposed to have read a long time ago.
Yeah, I won't talk about Brandon Sanderson because I have a bit of a controversial opinions about him.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like him, but a lot of people
Well, that's
do.
the thing.
So.
I don't dislike him. I just think that he has a bit of a Michael Moorcock syndrome.
Michael Moorcock. I don't know that.
In that he's a very prolific writer, and while his ideas are really good, the execution is questionable.
And that's valid.
Yeah.
What is Michael Moorcock's written?
His most famous stories are the Elric saga.
Oh,
Elric
okay. Okay.
I would there's a audiobook of a couple collection stories of Elric and Menabune. I recommend them. They are very good.
Yeah.
It's like what inspired you to like? So, did anything like specific inspire you to read these books?
Well, the movie, the Denis Villeneuve, right?
The new
well,
ones.
that's what set me off to start. I saw that I'd watched the part 1, and then the trailer came out for part 2, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to read the books. The trailer got me excited, and so I read the books. I also had a road trip, so I had a lot of time.
Yeah, actually, that's perfect because one of the questions was what did you think about them? So how did you feel about the? So you've watched 2 adaptations of Dune. Then
okay, and I've seen when I was very very young. I watched Children of Dune with my dad, and the only thing I remember about that, I know that they adapted Dune first, and I haven't seen that, and then they adapted Children of Dune, which was Dune Messiah and Children of Dune put together.
Yeah.
So I remember like scenes from that, but like the only thing I remember clearly is the ending, which is the guy starts getting stuff covering his body and he runs fast.
Yeah. Trust me.
And I think it rains.
You
Spoiler?
I won't give spoilers because like right, because what I will say is the Dune series, I'll leave it to later because I got a specific question about this. So, what did you think about the adaptations in comparison to the true story?
Okay. Adaptation in general is tough. Because okay. Well, obviously, the David Lynch movie is not a good film. The first half of it, well, okay, there are parts that are badly adapted, but the problem with the David Lynch film, I think, is not in adaptation. Like, I don't think it's a horrible adaptation. Well, the problem with the David Lynch film is it doesn't use the medium correctly. It doesn't. So in a book, you can have you can have inner dialogue, right? You can have characters just talking to themselves or thinking about things and problems. Hey, Jacob Ironside, in the chat, we see you. Also, we'll answer that other question from Lord Crunk eventually. Right. Different mediums can do different things well. Books can have inner monologue. They can talk about philosophy and all this stuff that doesn't work so well on screen.
Well,
and the David,
I was going to say quickly. Funnily enough, me and Grim figured out a way to do it.
Yes, and I want to question you about that later because I think it's the most insane thing I've ever heard. But so books, you can do that stuff. In movies, you have to make changes in order to get that stuff out, right? Like usually it comes in the form of like maybe a character that wasn't in the books that you just explain everything to, or someone who you know, or
well, I think the perfect example of how to adapt something whilst cutting out the unnecessaries is Lord of the Rings.
Yes, it's a great adaptation.
The person who rescues Frodo in Fellowship wasn't Aragorn's love interest; it was somebody else. But, like, it doesn't change the story like drastically if you make it Aragorn's love interest. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry.
Arwen.
Oh, yeah, it's
Arwen.
Arwen's
the blonde.
Yeah,
and Arwen's is the elf. Yeah, Arwen soaks up like 5 characters. She takes the role of a bunch of different people that were good characters, but they only showed up once and never came back. So it was smart to smush them all into one character.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
So but the point I'm trying to get to is that David Lynch's film, there are lots of tricks in filmmaking that you can get to, to adapt books, right? Like if you're inner monologue, maybe you can have, have them talking to someone, or there's different tricks. And the David Lynch film doesn't use any of them. It just has inner monologues, and more than half of the dialogue in the film is inner monologues.
Well,
so the people on screen just stop, look around, and you hear their thoughts, and that's like the whole movie. Yes, it's not Mark Clark. It's not Sunday. This is not Best Gen. We will be streaming tomorrow, but no one else on Best Gen had read the books. Okay. So yeah, the David Lynch film is not a good movie. I don't think it's a bad adaptation. Like for the most part, it gets because it includes all the monologue stuff, which is horrible for film. Like you do get a lot of the lore across. And then like halfway through the movie, they put in those weird word guns, which makes no sense.
I've not watched the movie myself, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, they make guns that it's because of the line at the end of the first book where Paul says, "I could kill you with a word."
But
they take it literally.
Metaphorical.
I know. And in the David Lynch film, I don't know why. Like I didn't realize until I read the book how stupid it was, because it kind of like made sense. Within the universe, they have guns that use words as their bullets. And so they hold their guns and then they focus their voice, because like if you forget everything you know about the books, it kind of makes sense with like the Bene Gesserit, the voice, right? You can control people, and then so it's just an extension of that, where if you channel your voice into the gun and you go, "Shah!" and it shoots like an energy blast.
That's so stupid.
But so watching the movie, I didn't know that was ridiculous, because it is kind of a natural extension of the Bene Gesserit power.
Oh, I wouldn't say natural, but it's an extension.
No, yeah, it is an extension. Good. Yeah. It's so wild. And then I was reading the book, and I'm like, wait, where'd those guns come from? And then I got to the last line. I was like, oh, it's literally that last line inspired this just wacko adaptation change that just added nothing. I don't know what it's for. But man, so like you should watch the Lynch film. Like it's entertaining.
I guess if it's one of those things where it's like Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
you can watch it, but you can't take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But some of the visuals are like incredible for the time period. They do some forced perspectives with like the spaceships taking off, and like some of it's really, really good. And then some of it's horrible, like green screen. I'm on a worm, and right. It's so yeah. The voice guns. I don't know. I don't know why you would do that.
It's so stupid. What's the thing? The worst part is that because Dune is so Dune,
grounded too.
I guess so far, yes, but it's Dune. Like I agree and disagree later on. Dune is this weird mix of it's the case of it's so out there it loops back round to being grounded.
Yeah, okay.
What about the
but you want to know about
recent one?
the Villeneuve, and I think we disagree on this. And even after reading it, I think it's a very good adaptation.
The new one.
Yes.
I think,
and I just came off of the books too. Like, it does have to cut a lot, but none of the things that it cuts from the first half of the book were like super essential.
Well, that's the thing. It is one of the key the whole point of the first book of the first two Dune books.
Yeah.
The whole point of those books is the deconstruction of the white savior idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, the whole point of the first two, in fact, there's implications that the Harkonnens were once like the Atreides, but because they've been around for so long, they stopped caring about like honor and stuff.
Right.
And they just because in the books, the Atreides are just as villainous as the Harkonnens. They just pretend to be honorable.
Right.
In the
film, I think that I think because, and you've mentioned that Paul is not the good guy.
He's not. He's Paul. What Paul does leads to a bunch of stuff happening that could have been avoided, and it's all his fault.
Right. But a lot of that stuff doesn't happen until books 3 or 4.
No, mate. Between books 1 and 2,
the jihad. Yeah.
Yeah, the jihad. That jihad kills millions of people, if not billions.
But from the perspective of Paul's character, he's trying to minimize losses. Like he says, like that's why I really liked the second book, because it talked about, it was the dilemma of free will and versus like prescience. Like, do you still have free will if you can see the future?
I want to talk about this topic, but it's explained more in book 3.
Exactly, right.
And so I can't really talk about it.
And so that's my point. Like, only having read the first 2 books, Paul is framed as a good guy.
That, I will say, that is because you're seeing the books from his perspective.
Exactly. And so if later on it turns out, oh, he was wrong, that if it's established in those books, it can be established in those movies.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a lot of stuff that they have to leave out of the film, but as I was reading the books, I was like, oh, this scene is like directly quoting the movie. Like, the movie directly quotes this scene, and the scenes that they cut was good stuff, but it wasn't like super necessary. And a lot of the political intrigue or the exposition or information that you get about the Fremen specifically, you don't get until the second half of the book anyway. So I think it's okay if they spend the second part of part 2 explaining some things that they skipped in part 1.
What's the thing? In Dune Part 1, they completely destroy the Fremen. Like, remember that? Okay, so one of the key points of the Fremen is that it's an allegory. They are an allegory for Muslims.
Yes.
That is a key part in the books. That is not in the movie at all.
Well, there aren't a whole lot of Fremen in part 1 because he meets them at the end of the movie.
Yes, but
there's like 3 characters like before then, right?
I can't remember.
I'm saying they can still do that explaining in part 2.
Oh yeah, that is true, but they did mess up one thing though, and that's the water. There's a scene where, remember that scene where Paul walks out in black clothing into like the palm trees, where one guy is watering
he's watering the palm trees.
Yeah, that does not make any sense from the book's perspective.
Oh, with Paul walking around not in a suit.
Oh no, not that. It's the fact that Paul doesn't stop those trees from being watered for no reason.
No, that's in the books.
No, it's not. In the books, those palm trees get taken down, just like that giant water wasting greenhouse.
No, like I don't think so.
They do.
No,
I
I
swear
think
they do.
no, they have no, because I was impressed with that scene when I read it in the book. I was like, oh, this is straight from the movie. He talks to him and says he brings it up. He says, well, shouldn't we get rid of these trees then if they're wasting so much water? And the guy says no, because of tradition and stuff. So he does propose that they get rid of them, but they don't do it in the books.
Yeah,
They get burnt down in the attack. But yeah, no, even the room, they talk about getting rid of it. The greenhouse.
yeah.
But no. Yeah, Jessica
No.
keeps it. She uses it.
No. The greenhouse. No, they do get rid of it. No, I think I remember now. The reason why that scene in the film doesn't work is because they don't have the greenhouse. The greenhouse scene was there to show the Harkonnens, like, the Harkonnen had a bunch of water, so much water they could literally create an Earth-like environment on Dune. And then Jessica goes in, finds out, hey, you're going to be...
I wish that scene was in the movie, for sure. Like, that, if there was, like, one thing that was cut, that part was really cool.
Yeah, cool. That scene had... The reason why that scene works in the books is because for two reasons. It shows off just how corrupt and evil the Harkonnens are.
Oh yeah.
But it also shows just how devious the Bene Gesserit are. That was the main point of that scene. The Bene Gesserit will do anything to, like, manipulate the strings.
I have a question about the Bene Gesserit.
Okay, go ahead.
So, the Missionaria Protectiva, which is the group of Bene Gesserits that are going around trying to convince. Well, I guess when they were doing it, they didn't know, but they are the ones like seeding prophecy about the Muad'Dib.
Mm-hmm.
And so they use that prophecy when they get to Dune to manipulate the people into thinking that Paul is the Muad'Dib.
Yeah,
to protect him, right? The
yes.
Messiah. My question is, so is it completely made up? Are the Bene Gesserit just creating this Messiah figure?
Yes.
That they from scratch, or are they using a prophecy that already existed and just trying to ham fist
the entirety
their God into it?
The entirety of Fremen, the Fremen's religion is completely manufactured.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. It wasn't clear. I was like, okay, because it could be both. Like, it could be they already had this belief and they're attaching.
No.
They're using it, so it's completely manufactured.
Yes,
that's insane. I love it.
Yeah, so it's for Grim. Streamline just isn't working for him. That's a shame.
Yeah, and I wish that was made. I definitely wish that was made more clear in the movies.
I think. Oh yeah, in the movies, it's not made clear at all. It is
kind of vague in the books, though. They just say we've been laying out this prophecy and stuff.
Well, that's not good. Yeah, like the whole point of the Fremen's religion being a complete construct. It's Frank Herbert's deconstruction of Islam.
Yeah,
because Frank Herbert saw Islam as like as a what's it called now? Not a forgery.
Manufactured religion.
Yeah, manufactured religion. Yeah.
Again, yeah, they're probably not going to adapt that word for word in the movie. Huh?
What's the thing? That is literally the point of the Fremen. If you don't adapt that, then you don't get the Fremen. There's something else.
Yeah, I think they'll probably turn it into my other guess is that the Fremens had these beliefs and the Bene Gesserits just like poisoned the well.
That doesn't work. The whole point is that the whole point of Muad'Dib is that don't put your faith into a demagogue because he will just use you, which is exactly what happens in Dune.
Oh, it's really good. The books are really cool, and the scene with like done much better in the book than the movie. Like I like them. I still like the movie, but the scene where what's Paul's mom's name?
Jessica.
Jessica is talking to the Fremen for the first time, and she's presented the Chris knife. It's in the movie, you have no idea what's going on.
Oh yeah, like it's.
But in the book, it's because it's all inner monologues. It's all Jessica
Yep.
saying, okay, this prophecy, I got to remember the right words, that we lied to them about this. And so
Exactly.
she's
I think
she's just going
that's
through like
yeah.
scripture in her head, trying to remember the right words to say to this woman at this exact time so that she'll
Mm-hmm.
accept her son as the savior. And it's
Exactly. Yeah. That's
such a cool scene.
that. I think that scene is there to basically say their entire religion is made up
Yeah.
for the Bene Gesserit's like their ploys, all that
Right.
stuff.
I think it can still work because, like, even in the books, it was vague. Like, I still had that question. Like, I didn't know if
Yeah.
it was 100% manufactured or if it was hijacked.
Yeah.
I think they can still make it work.
The reason
It's
why
gonna
I
be
think
tough. Like, I'm super curious about Dune Part 2, but the good part is, like, most of the plot happens in Part 1, so they can, and Part 2, like, you can literally just spend the first half of the movie just doing Fremen culture. Because Part 1, Dune Part 1, the movie adapts like the first 3/4 of the book.
Well, yeah, well, it's the first book, like I said, is part of a magazine.
Yes.
And Dune Part 1 is it's the whole of Part 1 plus the start of Part 2.
Yeah.
So
I'm
Dune
talking
Part 2,
like
the movie, is going to be like
page count wise though. Like once I got to the point where it caught up with the movie and the book, there was like a quarter of the book left.
No, it should be more than that.
Timeline wise.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember it being like I think
maybe 2/3.
Yeah, but it should be 2/3, yeah, because each part a third. Oh, it's Grim here.
Is his microphone working?
Who knows?
It might not be.
Yeah. Yeah.
We shall see. Yeah, no, like it was most of the book, and then the what's left of the book after the first movie is just him learning the Fremen culture and his mom, drinking some Dune juice, and then even like the last battle, the battle at the end of the book is kind of glossed over. Like
Yes.
They don't really care about the fighting. It's just, hey, they show up and then they talk for a bit.
because Dune isn't about the action.
No,
that's
it's
not
not.
what Dune is.
It's not.
Which is kind of why I don't like the adaptation. It's way too action oriented. That's not what Dune's about.
It spends a lot of time talking too, though. It's kind of a slow action for an action movie. It's pretty slow, but it does glorify the action a lot.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can really say I actually liked about the movie was the portrayal of like just how massive everything is in Dune.
Oh yeah, the scale was wonderful.
Funnily enough, the only thing I was really annoyed at was the spice harvesters. The spice harvesters in the books are so huge you can see them from orbit.
Oh,
in the movie, it's like the size of like a town. It's like, what? Like the whole point of their size is that spice worms can't eat them. That's the point. But in the movie, it's they eat one. It's like, what?
I don't know. I think it's been a while since you read the books. I'm pretty sure that the spice harvester gets eaten by the worm
it gets down. The whole point of the size of the spice harvesters is that they're so huge. Yeah. Whilst they get damaged, their cargo can still be manufactured because remember, it's spice. Right. It's the most valuable substance in the universe. Yeah. What's next on my questions?
Secundus. Oh yes, I would love to see some of that in the future. That's the planet where they make the Sardaukar. Seleucus Secundus.
It's not important, so I don't.
It's cool though.
Care.
They can do that in the TV show. Okay. In the Bene Gesserit prequel, which I was not excited for. They're doing a prequel about the Bene Gesserits, which look, I thought was a horrible idea until I read the book and realized how much was missing from it, and then realized, hey, they can use the TV show to really nail in the fact that their religion is made up. The TV show can just be about the Bene Gesserits, making up the religion.
Like, the problem
if it's done well, it probably won't.
It won't be. It can't be. Like, nah. I won't. Nah. I'm not even gonna touch that with a 5-foot pole. I'm not. Like, the expanded, like, everything that hasn't been from Frank Herbert to do with Dune has always been bad to me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not gonna.
But if you like, it could be done well to fill in the gaps that you had to leave out because of runtime. It probably won't.
Well, the thing is, I mean, agree with a lot of things actually. Like, for us, the best way to adapt to any like long like novel isn't a movie; it's a TV show.
Yeah, usually.
Because with a TV show, you get so much more time to like flesh out characters and plots and philosophies.
Yeah.
Like, as much
movies are hard.
Well, it's not that movies are hard. It's that movies have a lot less time to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Which for a whole book series dedicated to philosophy, not being able to talk is a massive downside.
It's tough. It does. That's the problem with adaptation.
Yeah.
So, I like to give adaptations more like benefit of the doubt, right? I give them not benefit of the doubt. Not when it comes to Disney, okay. But I give them more leeway as long as like you can see that it's being created out of goodwill. Which, like, come on, if you look at the Denis Villeneuve movie, he clearly likes the book. And while it's not the best adaptation because it's a movie and you have to drop so much stuff, like he is trying to adapt it well. And when you compare it to, Rings of Power, they never even read the books, right? So I will bash shows like Rings of Power, but like with the Dune movie, like you can tell he liked this book. Like he wasn't approached by Hollywood to create. He wanted to make Dune.
That's good.
And from the get-go, he said, "I want to make a trilogy. I want to do Dune and Dune Messiah, with 3 parts."
Yeah,
which makes sense because Dune Messiah is really short.
Wait. Okay, I can see that. Never mind.
So Dune is part 1 and part 2, and then the third film will be Dune Messiah.
Yeah, like that's one of the funny things. Though when you read Grand Emperor of Dune, you cannot adapt Grand Emperor of Dune. Like, sorry, you can't adapt it as a theatrical movie.
Yeah.
Like, you can adapt.
Well, I know it gets crazy. I mean, it's about a guy who's a worm now.
Yeah, it's like it's my profile picture. Like when
I've seen the cover of the book. Okay.
Yeah, like when you read God Emperor of Dune, it's the way it's written. It defies theatrical adaptations. You cannot do it theatrically because like
it's like an unreliable narrator type situation, right?
No. It's not that. It's I don't want to spoil it. Like when you get around to reading it, you'll fully understand why. It's just one of those books that defies theatrical adaptations.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Next question.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to answer this one real quick. Okay. Before the stream started, someone mentioned that they might take Aaliyah out of part 2, and if they do that, I'll agree that's a bad adaptation. You can't.
Yeah, no, but because the whole it's book 3 where Aaliyah.
It's book 3 where she becomes important, but she's introduced in 2, and she does important things in the end. Like she's the one who kills the Baron.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff.
Oh my goodness!
Like so. Wait,
Mark Clark is a channel member, and he's wonderful, but he reads books out of order because he's insane.
Why?
Because he checks them out from the library and he gets what's available to him.
Oh,
and
I see.
Literally, I don't know how it's possible, but he's read every series out of order.
So, okay, Mark, you have literally done the absolute worst thing when it comes to Dune. Book 4 literally does not make any sense unless you read the first 3 Dune books. It cannot work.
he it's not the first time I've been perplexed by Mark Clark, but we love him because he gives us money. So.
Perfect. It's written almost entirely in the past tense and in a monologue. That's why it's unadaptable. Yeah, that is part of the reason why. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like an alternate history or something like that.
No. As in like God Emperor Gene, he means Grimm. Yeah.
Well, the stuff that's like impossible to adapt, which I mean, they did an okay job with the film. Was the fact that Paul starts, seeing 100, thousands of versions of the future when he starts taking the spice, and you're like, it makes sense when it. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't even know how you'd put that on film. And so what they did was just like his visions of Jameis in the movie of them being friends, but then he kills him.
Yeah,
but it's okay. It kind of introduces the concept, but like not nearly to the extent that that it happens in the books.
Like one of the things I quite like about the books is that Paul's prescience, like when he first awakens it, it's almost magical. Like during like the first chapters, he's asked about his dreams, and he learns about Cheney way before he ever meets him. So he meets her, and like it's one of those things where how could he know the name of the woman who would become his wife way before meeting her?
Well, she never becomes his wife, so.
Oh, sorry, mistress. I mean, sorry, not mistress, not wife.
Yeah. No, it's
the other wife just doesn't matter. So.
I really liked the prescience aspect of the book, especially in Dune Messiah. I really liked Dune Messiah. I liked it better than the first one.
Yeah, it's a bad book. Yeah.
But I loved the concept of just talking about agency and like if you can see the future, do you still have agency? And then on top of that, if multiple people can see the future, which future is correct?
This actually goes into my my next question. What did you think of the world building and the presentation of the characters?
It was phenomenal. Like the fish guy, the spicing guild fish people, because they've taken so much spice they turned into fish.
Yeah, it's better than that. Like the way the spacing guild do space travel is they take so much spice and they have a massive not safe for work pile.
Yeah.
And that allows them to see into the future to navigate space.
I think you'll like the David Lynch film. It shows that. It shows this like worm guy like pooping when they travel through space. It's kind of cool. But like it's explained in the book that they just like see all the possibilities and navigate like the quickest route through space. And but I liked the idea that if multiple people can see the future, that it changes the vision of the other person that can see the future. And so it just becomes this like recursion loop of no one can actually see the future because more than one person can see the future. It's like the Incredibles. If everyone's special, no one is.
Yeah. Well, the way, again, books 3 and 4, they are the ones that explain this completely.
Mm-hmm.
And do I'll say it is, they aren't seeing the future, they are seeing possibilities of the future.
Possibilities of the future, right.
Yeah. Like that is a key difference, and that idea is the downfall of Paul, which you'll see in book 3.
Right. Well, and as it's presented in the first 2 books, I liked his like tortured. He was presented as a good character in that like he was trying to minimize damages, and like the whole idea that okay, stop. I know it's different in the okay. I liked how it was presented in the first 2 books. In that he's like
it's not that. It's just you think Paul is tortured. Like, oh boy, you're gonna meet someone who is so tortured. Paul looks like a fucking Candyland.
Like, but the idea that the jihad was unstoppable, and that he's like, look, even if because he's seeing all these possibilities of the future, and he's like, if I live here, people will worship me and say that I was a savior, and if I die here, I will become a martyr, and people will worship me and say that I'm a savior, and so as it's presented in the first 2 books, they say that the jihad was inevitable. And so everything that Paul tried to do, he saw these millions of versions of the future and tried to pick the one that had the least death.
Yeah, Paul's
which I think is a cool story. And now if that's subverted in books 3 and 4, that would also be cool.
Yeah, so I was going to say something, but it's sort of a spoiler, so I won't say it.
Okay.
It's to do with how Paul sees the world, but
yeah,
you'll see what I mean.
He's kind of nihilistic.
Oh, no, he is a nihilist.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Paul is a nihilist,
so
and that's his downfall.
Yeah, there's probably things he could have done better, but
yeah,
as it's as he explains it, if I would like to intervene here. There was so many points where he's like, I would love to intervene here and stop this from happening, but if I do, it will cause even more death.
Yeah. So what's your overall opinion of Paul and his actions?
Well, he's by his own. It's, and I get that I'm supposed to feel this way, but by his own words, he's worse than Hitler. Right, like he did a better job. Right, that chapter was fantastic. When it's like, I would like you to do some research on these historical figures, see how they led their armies. Well, what's this one? He was a guy called Hitler. Apparently, he was very successful in killing a bunch of Jews. Oh, it's crazy! It's crazy.
The 60s, man. Back when you could say that stuff and not be censored.
Yeah, no, it's great. But if you take his word for it, he's trying to do what's best. And if that's true, it's like, okay, but he also led a holy war and killed a bunch of people. Yeah. I did like how his story ends with seemingly, and I could be wrong, sacrificing himself to preserve the lives of his children.
Well,
or at least their legacies.
Like you'll see the after effects of what he did.
Yeah. I liked.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell him because it is a key. It's okay. You have to remember, part of prescience is only one part of the what's it called now? The Kwisatz Haderach's ability. The other part is genetic memory.
Genetic memory.
Yeah, looking back in to the past.
Right. So he doesn't have that, does he?
Doesn't he? I swear Paul does.
Genetic memory. He sees into his kids. Does he have genetic memory? His sister does. His sister is born as a Reverend Mother.
Yeah. So, yeah. So
I don't know if it ever mentions Paul having genetic memory.
He does because he mentions Hitler.
No, he from history books. He pulls up a bunch of history books and asks Gurney Halleck to like study up on Hitler. I don't think he ever has genetic memory. His sister does, and his mom does, and then I believe
because like that's part of because Paul is the Kwisatz Haderach, and genetic memory is part of the being a Kwisatz Haderach. There should have been chapters about that because it's a key part of the
he did. It just wasn't it wasn't a big focus though.
Yeah, because the future is much more concerning to Paul, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And they explained the genetic memory stuff through his sister, so he probably did have it. He just never really brings it up.
Yeah, it should have been a thing because I swear it was a thing in the first two.
Well, because his sister gets it because she's in the womb when her mommy drinks a bunch of spice milk, and so she gets all of the memories of her mommy, but she also gets all of the memories of all of the Reverend Mothers of the of the Fremen. So she is both herself and also her mom, and she has vivid memories of her mom having sex with her dad. I was like, oh gosh.
I love Frank Herbert.
He's such a weirdo.
But one of my questions was what is your favorite high as a kite moment? Like, like there are just moments in Dune where it's so clear Frank was as high as a kite, and it's just like, God damn it, Frank.
High as a kite.
His memories
Okay.
are fractured. He sees flashes of the visions, but next to none of it is incoherent. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember like a specific time where he was talking about stuff that he remembered from the past, because like he didn't absorb anyone's memories when he
Or
because when he becomes the Kwisatz Haderach, whatever, however you say that. It's because he goes down and just drinks the worm juice by himself. He didn't like
well,
absorb
no.
someone's soul
The
like his
Kwisatz
mom did.
Haderach, he's born as the Kwisatz Haderach is a Bene Gesserit thing.
Oh yeah, because he's born of his. Okay.
Yeah, he.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, Paul is the Kwisatz Haderach, but he's born as it. He doesn't become it. Yeah.
But when his powers get unlocked, it's because he drinks the worm juice.
Actually, he gets his power up after his father dies. That's when he gets his power up.
He gets a second power up when he gets a. There's a couple power up moments.
Yeah, I guess so.
When he drinks the worm juice and passes out for like a month, and then he wakes up and he's like, I can see everything.
Yeah.
Although it's so cool, the when he goes blind, it's awesome.
Yeah.
it's cool.
That scene was like, oh man.
And then seeing through the eyes of his kids when he is actually blind to throw a knife at a bad guy was cool.
Yeah. But yeah, what was your favorite Heisenkai? Like what
probably the finale of like all the like I liked that he was blind and he could see everything just because he'd seen all of these visions of the future and he could just walk by memory through the future. That's super cool. And then the point where he goes blind for real and can't see the future, just that confrontation with the assassin threatening his kids, and then all of a sudden he can see through the eyes of his kids because why not? And then he throws it back at the guy. Like that part was just like, oh, that is the weirdest and coolest thing I've ever read.
Yeah. I think well, all I'll say is it gets weirder.
It gets weirder.
Like, trust me, that scene in hindsight is like, yeah, that's normal. Like that, like flat out the stuff that happens in the first two books in comparison to 3 and 4. What Frank writes down is just, well, how high were you?
Well, I know that his son turns into a worm. Okay,
oh yeah, that like, funnily enough, I think in book 3, that's like the most normal, like weird thing that happens.
Yeah.
As his hell of a drug.
I really like Dune was fine, but like I'd already, I'd known the story for at least, so reading Dune was like, okay, filling in the gaps, like, oh, there's a bunch of little detail here, but for the most part I knew the whole story. But it was revealed like, oh, I didn't know that it was they're making up the prophecies. Like that was a huge revelation to me. But then Dune Messiah just blew my mind.
Trust me,
like bringing like the Duncan Idaho stuff, like the bringing him back, and then like
the golem.
I was like, I don't know why they're doing this, and then it's all clear at the end. Oh, it's because they want him. They want to show him that it can be done, so that he'll bargain for his wife. And I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I didn't see that ending happen when I first read it. I didn't see the ending happening. But it makes so much sense.
No, exactly. It make the once you see it, you're like, oh, I'm stupid for not realizing that that's where it was going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
that's like, obviously where it was going.
Yeah, like I think it's because we've been conditioned by so many of like intrigue plots where the intrigue is always let's kill this person. That it's just
It's it's literally the opposite.
Yeah.
Their intrigue was trying to get him to keep someone alive.
Yeah. Also, yes, I didn't like it at first, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, yeah. I go, oh, look at that, Grim. I can change my mind. Look at that.
I really liked Dune Messiah, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4. I have read a lot of books. Children of Dune and God Emperor Dune. are some of the best books I've ever read. Hands down, I would rank them up there with Lord of the Rings easily.
Yeah, I have to take a so when I do sci-fi though, because it makes you think a lot. I usually have to between books. I take breaks. Like
I get that.
I just read. Have you read? I assume you've read Ender's Game.
No, actually, I've not.
Oh, okay. Well, Ender's Game is a classic, but there are 3 books after that that you're supposed that the sequels are
Mm-hmm.
like super. They're super good. Orson Scott Card, and I finally got around to reading them, but it was like so taxing that
Yeah. Oh,
I would pepper in like a Terry Pratchett book in between each one,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
like okay, now I can relax and have a couple laughs, and now it's time to get serious.
Well, because like, that's because of Dune.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will do, mate. Like, yeah, that's from Dune. Dune is a book series where it's so philosophical. You have to ask yourself the questions because,
Well,
like,
you have to be paying attention the whole time too.
yeah, you have
So
to.
I finished Dune Messiah, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to The Hobbit. I think
Yeah, I get that.
I need a break, but yeah, I just finished that, so I'm going to be starting the 3rd book soon.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. Like, if you like the first 2 books, you're gonna love the third book.
Read them all backwards. It's more fun. No, it's not.
It's
Don't
not.
give in to Mark
It makes
Clark.
no bloody sense.
Don't
Oh,
do it.
so let's ask Grimm's questions. What did you think of the writing style?
The writing style. I was I really liked it. It's direct.
Yeah,
It
the
doesn't
word I
he
use
doesn't
is
mince words.
concise.
He's
Yeah,
not Tolkien. He doesn't get flowery and and just start going off on descriptions. Every word is there on purpose, and it's very concise and fast
exactly. Yeah,
paced. And
that's what I always use. Concise. It's very
yeah,
concise.
um, I really liked the writing style, and the way he was very good at getting you to see things, right? Like I've had authors where like there's so much description that you're just reading the description and you're not actually like
Yes,
seeing it in your head. But like
yes.
he has a gift of just being able to like quickly say things and like you can see it in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Um just the way he describes the palace and the desert and like the hidden greenhouse,
Yeah,
like it's all
that
there.
yeah, like that is one of the fake. Again, June has ruined me. Like now, when I listen to like those other descriptions, it's like just get to the point. Like you don't need to do all this like descriptions. Just
If
mm.
I think you will really like reading Gunmetal Gods.
Gunmetal. I've never heard of that.
As far as like writing style, that's probably the closest thing that I've read to Dune.
Gunmetal.
Gunmetal Gods. It is a Middle Eastern cosmic horror.
That's hilarious.
It is phenomenal. Okay. So there's the 3rd book just came out last month, but I haven't read it yet because it's not because the audiobook's not out and I'm dyslexic.
Really?
Okay.
It is out.
Hmm?
It is out. I just looked up right now.
The third the print is out, but I can't find the third audiobook is not out yet.
Oh, the third okay, the third book.
I've read the first 2.
Isn't it? Wait. Book 2.
Yeah. It's
Is it...
Gunmetal Gods, Conqueror's Blood, and then
oh yeah, it's not.
something.
You're right, yeah.
Horror Eldridge something. Elder something.
Yeah.
But I really really good book. And I didn't know it was cosmic horror at first. I just thought it was like a medieval Middle Eastern fantasy, and then all of a sudden things happen, and I was like, oh, okay. So the cover is literal. I've read books with dragons on the front that didn't have dragons in the book. Okay, I thought it was like a metaphor. No. It's a cosmic horror, and it's brilliant.
All right.
But he has a similar way of just things happening like really fast. And it's explained really well. I didn't know books could do that. When I first started reading it, it introduces a plot of like political intrigue, and you're like, okay, so the whole book's going to be about that, and then it happens in the next chapter, and you're like, okay, I don't know where the rest of the book is going. So, yeah, I highly recommend Gunmetal Gods.
The main thing about Dune is that Dune isn't written like a typical book.
No,
the way Dune's written is it's a historical reenactment book, is what we like to call it. It's a collection. It's somebody who's gotten a collection of like
Histories.
diaries and journals, and then made that into a book, going over the effect, the thoughts and feelings of these people in the past.
Well, that's what like the blurbs are before each chapter. They're all like scriptures from the Fremen, or like recordings that the Princess Irulan has written down.
Yeah, the basic journal entries
about Paul. It's really cool. I liked it a lot. And your idea for adaptation is crazy, which we mentioned before. Is to have it be a mockumentary.
Yes, it's a fictional historical documentary style thing. That way, you can explain the inner monologues.
You freeze frame on a picture, like, and General Patton wrote in his journal, I did this, and I gazed upon the seas, and
no, not that. I mean, like, have you ever watched a play before?
Yeah.
Is that kind of style where it's very obvious these actors are playing actors who are playing the roles of these characters. That's what I mean. It's not meant to be taken as like it's not theatrical. It's very much, but it's not movie theatrical. It's literal theatrical. You're not immersed in the scene itself. You're immersed in what they're telling you. Like your mind does the work, like a stage play. Like that painting in the background isn't a city, but your mind puts your perception into a city because that's what you're meant to be seeing.
And I totally agree that is something that I would watch, and no one else would.
No, to me that is the only way to do it.
It would be a horrible box office failure.
Well, it's not meant to be box office.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like it's the only way to. So docudrama. Docudrama. Well, no. What's it now? It's like
that would be very interesting to watch, though.
Like, what's like an actual thing? There have been stuff that has done this type of thing before. I just can't think of something off the top of my head. Damn it. Oh well. Like, there is there is a way to do it. So next question would be, what do you think about the Bene Gesserit?
I think they're fascinating. Especially realizing that they were just making up this prophet figure.
Sorry, Grim just posted something funny.
Sorry, he was. Oh, he was wicked, super powerful from the prophetic module
coloring book.
Sorry, what was the question? Bene Gesserit.
Like, what do you think about him?
Yeah,
tell him after he finishes.
Well, I love the way that the voice was depicted in the new movie.
It was
just the way that how it, like, you just find yourself doing it. It was cool. It's even better in the book, though. I love the idea of the voice is super cool, and how she's like training him to like. I love when fantasy tackles things like free will and willpower and stuff like that.
Oh, so like that's Wheel of Time, haven't you?
I like what?
You read the Wheel of Time, haven't you?
Yeah, I've read the Wheel of Time.
Of course, yeah.
I love that kind of. That's like the ultimate evil. To me, like if you want, when you get compulsion in the Wheel of Time, you're like, oh, no. You don't take away my free. You don't take away my freedom. I'm a conservative, baby.
Well,
okay,
my favorite adaptation of the voice is the Force in Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
The first application of the Force we see is
these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, that is the voice from Dune.
Yeah, it is.
That's it. Jedi Mind Trick is the voice from Dune.
Yeah,
like a lot of things from Star Wars, it's influenced by Dune.
Yeah, I really like that opening scene though in Villeneuve's Dune, where he meets the Reverend Mother. She's like, sit down, and he's just like,
well, that's the thing.
Oh,
that is the
just visually it looks awesome.
Oh yeah, it's one of the opening scenes, but it isn't the opening scene.
Right.
But yeah, that is quite cool though. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Bene Gesserit just the revelation that they're just making up all this crap. Like what? I assume it's for political power. They just want a Messiah figure so they can control.
Yes, kind of, yeah.
So they can control Dune or
yeah.
Oh,
shit, I think the Bene Gesserit are again. It's in book 3. Okay, all I'll say is there's a great revelation about the Bene Gesserit in book 3. That's what I'll say.
I also love the idea that they are. I mean, they're. I guess it's eugenics.
Kind of. No, it is. It is eugenics. It is literally eugenics.
But
no. Sorry, it's not eugenics. It's super eugenics.
Yeah, no. But it's kind of like the opposite end of it. In that the way we traditionally think about eugenics is stopping undesirables from breeding, but it's kind of the opposite of that. In that they're picking the best ones to breed a superhuman. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, so
it's just the other end of the spectrum of eugenics.
Yeah. So Grimm says they want to control human nature both socially and biologically.
That's crazy. It's such a cool concept.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What did you feel about the Bene Twi'leksu?
The Twi'leksu. Those are the guys that do the cloning stuff, right?
It's not. Well, it becomes cloning, but it's not cloning. It's resurrection.
Right.
The golas,
they take dead bodies and turn them into like.
Or they take cells
husks.
from dead bodies.
Yeah, they turn them into like husks that they can control, and and in the end of Dune Messiah, it turns into they can resurrect someone essentially.
Yeah, like the thing about the Twi'leksu are basically necromancers in the books. They become cloners, but they start off as necromancers.
I loved that they were using the at least in their political machinations, they were using the spicing guilders guys to like hide their movements. They would always they would only have meetings in a room with a fish person. I loved that concept that they send out like ripples through time, and so like they can't see each other because they're constantly changing. Like
the spacing guild it's one of the things I didn't like about the new movie. The spacing guild is incredibly important in the Dune
books. They're not present.
I think we see like one of them, and it's like a guy in like a Fallout robot.
They don't come up much in the first book, though. But they
Oh no, they don't come up much. But it's explained. The spacing guild is why people can travel the stars.
Yes,
they are the reason why civilization is able to be connected. They are incredibly important to the infrastructure of the known universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I liked that, and I liked their face changer assassin guy in the second book who was just doing cool stuff. Oh, and I liked that technology of like implanting like data inside someone's like memory, and then like you could like get it from I don't know, I'm not explaining it well. Like when he goes to the planet to get like a list of instructions from a girl. I don't know, it was a cool technology that I'm explaining horribly.
I know what you mean, but you're like 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 do you remember one of the cool things about Dune is genetic memories, and that's why the Gola can awaken the memories because of genetic memories.
It's cool.
Which again comes up later in the next books, which is a reoccurring theme. What's next? The Ixians. That's right, the Ixians.
You're gonna have to remind me who they are.
The Ixians are the guys who make a bunch of tech stuff. Like they make the Hunter Seeker. Like they become much more important later on.
Yeah, I don't remember them. I
Oriental
don't remember them doing a whole lot in the first 2 books.
Yeah, they're the Oriental Mechanicus. That's great.
I like the Mentats. Mentats are cool.
Oh yeah, the human computers.
Oh, it's also not explained in the movie that Paul is a Mentat.
Yeah, that's one of the things that needs to be explained. Yeah. Like that's really important to the story.
That should have been in the movie for sure. The other thing. Oh, sorry. Before you get to the next question, retroactively after reading the book, the thing that I did not like about the movie, because I didn't realize how important it was the race swapping of Liet Kynes, or sorry, the gender swapping of Liet Kynes. Which when I saw the movie, I didn't. Also, why is she black?
I don't know.
I guess. Well, it makes sense. It's because she's not actually Fremen. She just married a Fremen, so that's fine. The race swap isn't as important. But the gender swap, I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a guy instead of a girl. And then I read the book. I was like, oh, wait, no. Like, no, this character is much more important than I thought. It.
Yeah,
they were. They're probably just going to give that role to.
I don't think they are.
To.
Like
the other guy.
I vehemently don't like sex swapping or race swapping characters. There's no reason to do it. The only one time I was like perfectly fine with it was Red from Shawshank Redemption. Because in that case, it was a case of the race didn't matter much.
Yeah.
And also Morgan Freeman was the perfect cast for that character.
Yeah.
Like unless that person is the perfect cast for a character and their race doesn't matter or their sex doesn't matter, then you'd have to push me, but if the
actor is good enough, then yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's ridiculous. Don't get me started on the Wheel of Time and Avienda, because I will have an aneurysm on stream.
I'm just pissed off the fact that she's just not ginger. Race.
No, dude, I've said that so many times, and people on Twitter are like, "What are you talking about? She is a ginger," and like, no. She's got brown hair. It's like zoom in. It's red, and you're like, no, that's not what a redhead is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like Grim is ginger. Like she's not ginger.
And they kept her freaking dreadlocks. God.
Oh god, that's so dumb.
They didn't even put a wig on her. She's got her dreadlocks.
It's like the whole point, right? Race is an incredibly important part of the Wheel of Time world. It's why Rand is such an important.
I know.
It's anyway. Let's talk about something good.
Yes, I think race swapping and gender swapping is dumb.
It is, yes.
Unless there's a really good case for it.
I hate the word. I hate the term gender. I can't stand it. But yeah, it's a personal thing. Anyway, the Fremen. What do you think about them?
I think they're fascinating, and they're definitely Muslims.
Yeah. Yep, that's what they are. At least Frank has the balls to not even hide it. It's like, yes, this is an allegory for Muslims. That is what this is.
Yeah, man, I can't even say what I want to say.
Yeah, it's a very touchy subject nowadays.
I've read a lot of the Quran.
Okay,
I'll just leave it there.
So is Grimm actually. They're not an allegory. They literally just are.
Yeah.
It's a
next question. Next,
the Harkonnens.
Harkonnens. Okay. Controversial. But in the David Lynch film, it's pronounced Harkonnen, and I like it so much better.
But why though?
Harkonnen. I don't know. That could just ring. Maybe it's just because I grew up on it. But Harkonnen, and then I listen to the audiobook and hear, and in the new movie it's Harkonnen, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I just like the pronunciation better.
Wait,
just the pronunciation of the name Harkonnen. I like Harkonnen instead of Harkonnen.
Yeah, like. Yeah, it's a personal thing, which is fine. But like, yeah,
it's just
what do you mean?
Literally just the pronunciation.
Yeah. So spice melange, like it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Also, that word. So those words, spice melange. Oh, it's so good.
It's a good word. It's a good word.
It's 2 words. But yeah.
Spice melange.
But yeah, what do you think about them? Like, what do you?
The Harkonnens they're cool. And dude, you got to watch the David Lynch film. They took a lot of liberties with the Harkonnens. But I think it's a great villain. It's the political machinations too of the Baron Harkonnen that's the best part of the first book. It's not even Paul's story. It's just the Dune. It's just the Baron and his machinations are fascinating. And and the fact that he's constantly interrupting his machinations are his like intrusive homosexual thoughts too.
Yeah,
and he's constantly like, oh, that's a nice, good, strapping young man.
Yeah, like the whole oh no, yeah, the whole so yeah, Grimm said how do they compare to the Atreides? But like, it's very obvious. Frank wrote the Harkonnens to be everything he dislikes about people in power, or just people in general,
and corruption.
I think self-indulgence is his biggest sin. Like, he cannot stop himself. He's always eating. He's always like horny. Like, he always must have more.
And he's so gluttonous that like he has to have suspensors to move him around, and it's so cool.
Yeah, floating suspensors. Not even cool. Like suspensors, just floating suspensors because sci-fi. Yeah. But like the Harkonnens are everything that the Atreides are not. That makes sense. Like, yeah.
And I love that he's totally willing to just throw his nephew under the bus and just like, okay, no, Dune is yours now. But he's like, oh, just go. I want him to fail so that I can bring in this other guy that I like. Like, I love it.
Like, yeah, he's pure machinations and evil.
Yeah.
He is the villain. And yeah, what did you think of the original Corino Padishah Emperor?
The Emperor is. I thought he was going to come up more in the second book, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
He kind of doesn't really have a huge presence. He just shows up at the end of the first book, and he gets outsmarted, and then gets banished. And then in the second book, it mentions he's doing things, and then it never comes up again.
Yeah, it's more of his daughter that is like in the second book.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like there isn't much to say. It's just it's more the fact that it's not him himself. It's more what he does.
Yeah,
because he allied with House Harkonnen to do
super
what
devious.
They did. Yeah,
right.
Well,
I like his actions, but he doesn't have a huge presence in the books. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. In the first book, he is a massive presence. He just isn't he's a presence, but he's not felt because you're not supposed to know that he was a part of it until later on.
Yeah.
I think. Do you remember why
you want to know what's fascinating? The opening scene of the David Lynch film is the Emperor and the Baron explaining their whole plan.
Oh my god! Of course it is. Like the twist of the first book.
I know. It's literally them saying, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and then that happens.
Oh my god. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. So do you remember why the Emperor and the Harkonnens did what they did to the Atreides?
Well, the Atreides were, if I remember correctly, the Atreides were never like a huge military force, but they were gaining so much political support that they were both afraid that they were gonna eventually kind of take over.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So it was a case of many of these smaller houses looked up to the Atreides due to like their facade of honor.
So part of it was getting rid of a rival, and also setting an example to all the lower houses that like, hey, we're in charge.
And it backfired.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, what do you think Children of Dune is going to be about after Dune Messiah?
Okay, I have no idea.
Yeah.
How on earth could I possibly know what it's about? Okay, but I've seen. If I remember back to my childhood and the glimpses of what I've seen, it was obviously going to be about his kids and their freaky, leaky powers. And I assume that his sister and Duncan, Idaho, are going to have a pretty big role, doing stuff there. It's probably going to be about fulfilling Liet Kynes' dream of making Dune habitable.
Well, you'll see. But all I'll say is, I went into Dune because Grimhat loves to spoil me about things. I knew what was meant to happen about Dune. Like I knew what the Golden Path was before reading, but I had no idea how anything would happen. So I was also completely like, what the hell is going on? Like every
the Golden Path is Liet Kynes' plan, right? That's what you're talking about.
No. The Golden Path is something else. Again, book 3 will explain.
Okay, doesn't come up till later.
Oh no, it did come up in book 2, but book 3 is where it starts to take form, and book 4 is it happening. You'll see.
When did they mention the Golden Path? I don't remember that.
I swear it's mentioned in the second book. If it's not mentioned in the second book, it's mentioned like early on in the third book.
Okay.
But like it's basically the Golden Path is what the plot of Dune is about. Again, the first 2 books are setup books.
Right.
The story actually starts in book 3.
Oh, I also liked how they just killed the Reverend Mother off screen in the second book. They're like, oh yeah, she's dead. We killed her.
Yeah. Which is one of the weakest part. Wait. What? Oh yeah. So yeah. The story starting in the third book. It is a weak part of Dune because Frank really wanted to set up like the story of why his history would make sense. Which
I had heard something a long time ago, probably from a YouTube video, but I don't remember where the source was, but it's something that stuck with me, and I have a really good memory. So I'm not making it up, but I did hear this from a source that said that that Frank Herbert never really intended on writing sequels to Dune.
No, that's stupid.
No, but because he was notorious for writing just one-off books. He wrote a lot of
not for Dune.
Dune was Dune because I know that Dune, the first book of Dune, was supposed to be 3 books, and then he realized, oh no, it's just 1 book. And
it was. It was the first book, as you've heard it, was originally published in a magazine as 3 separate sections.
Yes, and then
combined
turned into Dune. But what I heard is that he wrote the first Dune book, and it was massively successful, and the publishers wanted him to write sequels, and he normally doesn't do sequels until they offered him a bunch of money, and then he said, okay, but I'm going to skip the interesting bits, and jumps 20 years and skips the whole jihad.
No, it was my proto Dune, yeah. Like, I don't think so, because again, Dune does not make sense until you've read the 4th book. The 4th book is where you should end, because that's when the series makes sense. Dune 1 on its own makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's a coherent story, but nothing was really told. It was all set up. it only makes sense in book 3 and book 4. Like
And then
that's when the actual plot happens.
And books 5 and 6 are not worth reading
It's
unless you do a bunch of digging and read about his plans for book
so
7.
in fact that's the thing. Once you read book 4, me
See,
and Graham
look, I'm
want to
not the
talk
only one
about
though. I did see. They heard that rumor too.
GE is at the height of where the yeah.
Because if you think about it, it does kind of check out. Like book 2 skips over all the interesting stuff to get back to his philosophy, and then the main character leaves, and he's not even part of book 3.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like the sequels were
You have
written
to remember,
out of spite, and then he realized, oh no, I actually really want to do this.
I don't think so, because again, Dune doesn't make any sense without books 3 and 4. So I don't think so. Also, again, the wars, action is not what Dune's about. It's not an action book.
Yeah,
the action is just there to facilitate the philosophy.
Well, it might just be a revised version. There might be some truth to it in that, like, I bet you that the producers did want him to write a book about the action. They're like, okay, yeah, write the sequel about the jihad, and he's like, no, I'm going to skip that part.
If that's true, then he's just based.
I know I heard this from a source. I just can't find the source now, and I'm like,
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Well, see, like, yeah,
but the source could have been wrong too.
Yeah, but yeah, what Grim said is true. 5 and 6 are good books, but like 1 and 2, they are setups. Yeah, it's all set up.
Yeah.
And he died, so there's no resolve.
Oh,
but again, once you read God Emperor, we will tell you what we think would have happened. Because there are some revelations that I think would have been really cool if it happened. But again, no spoilers.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I think I'm pretty sure it's the next book on my list is to do 3 and 4. So
yeah. Again, each book is basically its own genre, so you can do them back to back. Out of the characters so far, which is the most interesting? Like who interests you the most?
Duncan, Idaho. Also, he has the coolest name, and I love the idea that one of the most boring states in the United States has become a surname in the future.
Yeah. Oh, is it has it been revealed yet that yeah, in the Dune universe, Earth is destroyed.
Like
the so like names like states and stuff, they're just things. They literally are just names now.
I think it's hilarious. His name is Duncan, Idaho, and it's awesome and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, well, Duncan is awesome. Like he's a good character. Fighter. Yeah, like any other reason? Like why is he your favorite character? Why is he most interesting?
Well, and I think philosophically he's the most interesting too. If you want to explore like what is humanity, like is he still a human, and what does that mean? And is he still the same person if he is human?
That's expanded Dune. Wait, what's expanded Dune? The Earth's destroyed. No, yeah. I swear
it's I think it's briefly mentioned in Dune 1, but it's definitely in Dune Messiah, one of the opening chapters. It's when they're talking about Hitler and stuff. They talk about how the Earth is
really
destroyed.
Yeah. I swear one of the things in oh, that's right, yeah. So in book 4, there are mentions to places on Earth, but it's done in a way where like it doesn't really matter. It's just more just like, does anyone actually remember Earth? Because it's been so long since people like went into the stars that it just doesn't matter anymore. Earth is a mythical origin, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's like reading Lord of the Rings now. Like, oh, how much is this true?
Yeah, it's like, oh well, so that's where everything came from.
Yeah.
Let's see. So have you got an impression of what the themes and philosophies of Dune are, or is it too early to say?
Well, other than what they've explicitly stated, in that, like, what does humanity even mean, and how does free will exist if you can see the future?
Sorry.
like predestination versus predetermination. I think that's what it's called.
Do you mean like free will versus predetermination?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I like those themes. If I had to guess about where we'd go in the future, I mean, you've already hinted that it's going to be a deconstruction of Paul's character, and that turns out he was the baddie. So it's going to be a criticism of religion and blind faith.
It's not a criticism of religion. It's a criticism of false religion and blind faith.
Yeah.
Like, don't
blind
just
faith
follow
in
leader.
false religion. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other themes are prevalent? Well, they've talked about sentience a lot, and I assume like machines, like artificial intelligence is going to play some kind of role in that same vein of like, what does it mean to be alive or human?
Bless you. Yeah, I think that's a great response, Grim.
Yeah.
Like the Bene Gesserit on. Oh yeah, that's one of the things about the books. The quote unquote humans in the books are not human as we are now.
Yeah.
Like Dune takes place a long time in the future.
Right.
Like, the humans as they are in Dune, they have evolved past what we are. So while they claim to be human, they have evolved past it as well.
It's the power of love to change the future. It turns out it's just interstellar.
Oh god. Like the Bene Gesserit, like the Bene Gesserit are not human, but keep a home in the name. Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, oh, here's Group's question. Do you think Dune has inspired you in some way for your creative pursuits and or hobbies?
I mean, it's been recent that I've read the books.
Yeah.
Hobbies. I mean, I love worms. Here, hold on.
They're inhuman. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay. Hello, chat. It is me alone. Oh, no, never mind.
So I play a lot of D&D, and I paint minis, and I've got
that's cool.
These cool sandworms.
Nice.
So I haven't. It's always been my intention
sandworms. Nice. Yeah, there you go. That's inspiration from Dune.
Yeah, little worms.
Little worms.
It's a purple worm in D&D.
Yeah, a purple worm.
It's always been my intention to write a book, but it's pretty much just world building stages, and I know what the plot's going to be, but I don't have time right now to physically pursue it because I'm writing music right now. I'm working on an album that I've been slowly working on for over a decade, but dedicated to for the last 2 years. And that's going to be released this year. And then after that's released, I do want to kind of focus on a book. I want to write a book eventually, but I don't know how much. I don't have a lot of free time.
Yeah, I got that.
So has Dune inspired me? It definitely will in the future. I think specifically taking like the writing style in mind, and just how concise it is. If I could mimic any kind of that prowess, that would be a success.
Yeah, of all the writers I've ever read, like I love Robert Jordan's writing.
Yeah,
but like
and
Tolkien's.
Robert Jordan has his indulgences. Okay.
Oh, he does. Yes, he does. He does.
He talks about dresses a lot.
I know. So. Flattens the skirt. But yeah, I think of all the writers I've ever read, I think Frank Herbert's conciseness to me is peak writing. Just you don't need flowery writing. You just need to put exactly what you mean to say. and
Yeah, I was kind of
describe what you need to
shocked.
say.
I was
Yeah.
shocked at how well it was written because a lot
Oh,
of
you
a lot
think
of
you
the
think? Hang on, sorry.
a lot of the classics that you know they kind of feel like homework. You know, even Lord
Yeah,
of
they
the Rings.
can
I
be.
love Lord of the Rings, but it's a little bit tough to get through Lord of the Rings.
Oh
Just
yeah, Lord of the Rings is remember it's based off stories he told
yeah,
his kids, so
yeah,
it's not meant to be taken all at once.
exactly. But you know, even some of the like a lot of older books are. I mean, this isn't super old, but a lot of the older books are kind of hard to get through, in that
Yeah,
they're a little bit wordy,
yeah.
or I've been reading Asimov, which is phenomenal. Foundation was great. It's kind of a tough
Oh
read in
yeah.
that it like it makes you think, and
Oh yeah.
just the
Foundations by Dune.
vocabulary is tough. And I was expecting kind of that in Dune, and I just started listening to it, and I was just like,
Yeah.
it reads like butter. It's like it's so smooth. It was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, like if you think like book 1 and 2 are concise, book 3 and 4 evolve like just how well like Frank's for me at least, Frank's ability to write skyrocketed between books 2 and 3, and it was
Mhm.
already phenomenal. But it
What do
just
you
gets so much better.
what do you think of his other works? Have
Frank's
you
other
read anything?
works. No, I haven't actually. No, maybe Grim has, but not me.
Mhm. I'd
Oh,
be very curious to read some of his stuff before or after Dune, or I guess he
well, we
probably
can't
ended up
really do
doing
after Dune. Not
You're
my
right.
cup of tea. Foundation says Grim. He doesn't like the Foundation apparently.
I've only read the first part so far.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
loved it. I
he
loved the
also
concepts in Foundation.
yeah, he also well a lot of it inspired Dune as well, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Grim asks, what genre of music do you make? Are you making?
My first album is literally called "Who Needs Genre." So
That's
what?
great.
I have no idea. I have no idea how to answer that question. I just make music that I think sounds good. I don't like. I like what the type that I listen to. I typically avoid rap and hip hop.
Okay.
There are songs from those genres that I do enjoy. It's just not one I listen to a lot.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't like that.
Mostly alternative rock is what I like. But I
Mhm.
don't know if I could call my style alternative rock. It's just it's its own thing. It's I don't know.
Yeah, I get
What
that.
I
I get
like to
that.
do is I hear a song, you know, or from a band that I like, and I try and for one song emulate that style.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't answer that question.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Like yeah, for me, my taste might be quite similar to yours. I can't stand rap.
Mhm.
Like I only like one rap song, and it's like it's not really a rap song. It's more just it's written like rap, but it's done in a much different way. So of course I like it because it's not rap. um. Oh, his other books are more kind of more cock like quality and interest. Oh, so Frank's Okay, I see. Yeah, so Frank Herbert has a more cock. Okay. Um, I is there anything else you want to talk about? Like because I think that's all I have actually for questions.
um, as are you excited for Dune Part 2? Because
No.
you didn't love Part 1.
No, I am the only thing I can say is I'm happy that more people will be reading Dune because it's Dune. Sorry, I keep bloody
Yeah,
accent.
yeah,
Um, like again, it is you don't get to be called the foundation of sci-fi for nothing.
yeah.
Like you have to earn that title, and Dune earns that title. So I am very happy people are
Mhm.
reading the book.
Yeah, and it's definitely brought. I mean, it brought me to. I was going to read it anyway, but it brought me a little bit sooner to the books. And I can, it, at the very least, it's an adaptation that will make people want to read the books and not Rings of Power, where people will be like, why would I want
Like
to read this?
one of the thing like if I ever meet a person who didn't read Lord of the Rings because of Rings of Power, I'll just say to them, how could a foundation of a genre be bad? Like,
yeah, but a better comparison is the Wheel of Time. I've had people stop reading Wheel of Time because of the show.
how? What?
Yeah,
How? Why?
my
That's
friend
just...
my friend read the first book, started watching the show, and is like, I can't do this anymore.
that's
I've
dumb.
had people deterred from reading the series because of the show.
Your friend dumb. Your friend dumb. That's what I was to say. Your friend's dumb. Probably, yeah, that's right. June's a foundation of modern sci-fi, says Grimm. Yeah. Also, he also says sorry you couldn't attend.
So which inspired more sci-fi, Dune or John Carter of Mars?
Dune. Like, well, it's not just sci-fi. Dune also inspired like Lord of the Rings. Dune inspired a lot of genres.
Yeah, but Dune was probably inspired by John Carter of Mars too, though.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but
so by the transitive property, which one was more inspirational?
I guess it depends. It depends what you mean, because like, not as many people nowadays have read John Carter of Mars.
No one has.
Yeah, but like with Dune, it's the same with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is inspired by other things, but it's a funnel for those ideas.
Okay.
Which then it's like an hourglass. All the inspirations drain to a single point, which is Lord of the Rings or Dune, and then it comes on the other side, and it goes to so many other places.
Yeah, and Dune Revolution. Okay, yeah, I was trying to trip you up, and you had a really good answer.
Like I have thought about this stuff before.
Yeah, Dune revolutionized it, I guess.
Yeah, it's the same with Michael Moorcock. Michael Moorcock was the first person to write proper dark fantasy, and like the modern interpretation of it. Elric of Melniboné is the first iteration of the modern anti-hero. Every anti-hero after Michael Moorcock's Elric was inspired by him in some way. It's just a case of like just go back a bit.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm super excited for 3 and 4, and we'll definitely have to do this again. Should we have another discussion after book 3, or should I finish both of them?
It's up to you. Like, I don't mind. Like, because like book 3, like I said, is where the plot happens. Yeah, reinvigorated it. Yeah, book 3 is like that is of all the places to stop read. Like a good book 3 is a good place to end if you don't want to keep going, because book 4, it's very different to book 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But again, I recommend you read book 4. But yeah, it is a good place to it is a good place to have another interview, because a lot of stuff happens.
And I know you've warned against reading 5 and 6 because there's no conclusion, but like I've been liking it so much, I might do it anyway.
Oh yeah, if you do it anyway, that's fine. Just stay away from his done stuff. It's not Dune. It's not Dune.
Yeah. Did they try and do a book 7? I know he's done a lot of
I don't care.
Prequels and stuff.
I do not care. Honestly, I just don't care. Also, yeah, me and Grimm will tell you some of the ideas we had for what would have happened.
Okay.
In book 7, because there's a lot of hints as to what we theorize, and at least to us, it is the most appealing, I guess. So yeah, we'd like to share it with you. Yeah.
Well, I will get reading then, and then we can do another one of these.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mark Clark. I forgot about my own song. I do have one published song. That's a Christmas song. It's okay. It's not my best work. I like it. It's also not super indicative of my genre either. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do I also get to plug my own socials?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on YouTube, I am Shekel Acquisitioner.
Oh, well, you should have told me that before. I'll put it in the description.
Oh yeah, I'll send you in the chat. Yeah, I've got I've got a video in the making for. Have you heard of Legend of Vox Machina?
Yeah, I know you don't like it. I did.
I hate it now. Well,
It's got yeah.
That's the point of my video. I want to show you that no, it wasn't good. It was very bad.
No, yeah, it has narrative problems. I enjoyed watching it, but I know that there are problems there.
Yeah, well, hopefully with that video, I originally want to do it all as one video, but because this is my first time like editing a video and narrating one and script writing, so like it's been a lot. So I plan to do it in parts now, but like hopefully my video can convince you. No, this is very bad.
It was a fun time.
Well, I don't know how you can say that.
It's also hard not to admire that what they've accomplished. You know, they just played D&D as friends, and now they got a TV show. Like,
well, that's the thing.
That's cool.
It is cool. Okay, that is cool. But like one of the things they claimed in like the behind the scenes stuff is like, oh, this is the first time that it's ever. No. It's like there was. I think there's an anime. Sorry, I believe there was an anime from like the 90s. Yeah.
That was based
and also
D&D
there was also a D&D TV show. My friend also said there's a YouTuber called Quinn's Ideas, which is also a good source for Dune stuff in general. Yeah.
I know Nerd Cookies is a big Dune aficionado as well.
Like, fully enough, I've not watched like many Dune YouTubers, so I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I can't see them cutting Aaliyah. I don't see how that's physically possible.
Oh, you know, like if they cut Aaliyah, books 2 and 3 don't work if she's not there.
Well, she's probably not part of the marketing because she's only a little girl in the first book. So.
Oh yeah. In the first book, yeah, like she's because
she's kind of a surprise. So yeah, they're not going to use her in the marketing. So.
Like Aaliyah is an interesting character in the first book, but yeah. So apparently my friend said Quinn is a better YouTuber than the other one. So yeah, Quinn's idea is better than the other one, but again, that's his opinion. I have no idea.
Yeah. Send me those, and I'll plug your YouTube channel in the description of this afterwards. So
yeah. So it's just the @ one, isn't it? Just the @ thing.
Yeah.
There you go. There it is.
Well, this has been super fun. I don't think I had any other questions other than
Grim. Do you have anything, Grim? Let's see what he says. Yeah. Like, I think the worst part for me about Legend of Vox Machina, I went in wanting to enjoy it, but I just got kicked in the balls.
It needed a lot of condensing that didn't happen. Like the first half of the second season was just like, go to this location, go to that location. Like they if you're going to adapt a D&D campaign, you've got to cut a lot of stuff. You've got to cut a lot of stuff.
No, that's another thing. No questions. Okay. No, that's another thing. I get to talk about this as well. In the behind the scenes, it's explained the first 2 episodes were never a part of the campaign, the podcast. They were completely made up.
Of the season 1?
Yeah, the first 2 episodes never.
So that was before they started streaming. So that they did.
No, that's not true. In the behind the scenes, they say it's completely made up. That is that's from the horse's mouth.
Because I've heard. Okay.
That's just a rumor. Because like again, in the pre-production, they would have mentioned that, but they didn't say that. They say it's completely made up, an all original story. But like,
no.
Like it's.
I was talking mostly about season 2. Like it's just like a fetch quest for the first half. But
I have not watched second season. I refuse. I am stuck with the first season.
The second season was better than the first one. So
anything is better than the first one. That's not a comparison. It's like saying, oh yeah, like it's like saying Johnny Test is better than Wheel of Prime. It's like oh, it is, but like okay.
All right. Well, I'll watch the video for sure.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't have anything else to say, but I'm looking forward to doing this again. It's been fun.
Yeah, I think next time will be even better because again, you'll understand what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for taking your time, and sorry about the technical difficulties with Grim. But
yeah,
hopefully he'll get his microphone fixed for the next discussion.
Yeah, I'll definitely like see what's going on with him because I hope we can fix it.
All right. Well, it's been fun talking, but that's it. That's all she wrote. So
Right,
bye.
thank you very much for having me.
We'll talk again later. Bye.
Bye.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.